Hello and welcome to another episode of Filmmakers Focus. I'm Dot Kennedy. This week we're talking 5 tips for actors seeking acting work. I believe a lot of this stuff is going to apply to people that are in other areas of production. So stay tuned. I know you're going to get something out of this. So a little bit about me before we jump into these tips. Me as an actor, right now I'm non-union. I'm representing myself. So no agent, and I'm not SAG. And that's the perspective that I'm coming from. So I want you to understand that before we dive into this. You know, you're going to talk to other people that have a different perspective than I do, but I can only offer you what I have. But I believe that what I have to share is valuable because I've gone from nothing to something. And a lot of you out there are coming from that same area. You're starting at nothing and you're trying to build something. So again, this will apply to other areas beyond acting, but we're going to focus in on the acting aspect right here. So number 1, my first tip is be proactive. I talk to a lot of people that either they don't understand how to be proactive or they just aren't. So understanding how to and actually doing it is way different than not understanding at all. You know, in maybe a sub tip here for being proactive. Get to those networking meetings, go to the filmmakers meetups, go to production company businesses, go find these people, find the people that are making motion picture, find the people that are putting on plays, get to know these people, get in their face. They need to know that you exist. How do they get to know that you exist without you actually being there? They're not going to just find you. You have to help them see you. So get your headshot, put a little reel together. All those things are doable. Make those things happen. Make them notice you. You have to be out there in front. And I love what my friend Ashley Jackson does. She's been a guest on this podcast. She is extremely proactive. And she'll go out there and she'll be on set. And she's going to be on set in one way or another. So if she's not acting, she is a production assistant or she's doing something else, to help out with the production. She works hard. She's working a lot of hours, and she went to school for acting. I didn't do that. She's got a lot invested, a lot more than I do. And I just love her tenacity. She just goes after it with everything she's got. And, she's a model for me to follow. That I need to be out there and working as hard as she is, and I'm not afraid to do that, but so just be proactive, be out there. Another way to be proactive is to find people online, find people through Facebook groups, find people in your local area through online resources. It just takes a little bit of figuring out where these people are. However that happens, just make it happen. So be proactive. Number 2, don't be too picky. I've taken on some gigs lately that are PSA type stuff, public service announcements. You know what? It's acting and it's paying bills. I love that. So, for me, that's awesome. I'm a working actor. I would have never dreamed that, I did dream it and I never thought that would come true, and so for it to come true, it's just an honor and a privilege. So I take every gig that I get, as just an opportunity to learn. And if I'm getting paid, man, that's just amazing. So I appreciate that all the way, and I guess that's a little bit of an attitude too. I just choose to look at it positively. There's too much positive in something like that. Granted, it's a little town commercial or whatever. So what? It's something. It's something that can go on your actor's reel. It's time in front of the camera. You're meeting new people. You're networking. What's not to like? So don't be too picky, Just take those gigs that you can. If they're paid, great. If not, that's fine. You got to choose what you're going to do and what you won't do. But just make stuff happen, Just get out there. Put in resumes where you can. And this isn't really a tip, but just talking about people that do have an agent, you gotta be the ones that are out there doing the work too. Don't count on your agent to go out there and find your work. Don't count on your manager finding your work. You got to be as active as they are, if not more, because I believe that they're going to work as hard as you do. So don't be too picky, and that kind of goes into being proactive as well, but take the work that you can. You look at some famous actors now that, their early work, it wasn't anything to write home about, but they were out there. We see a lot of old commercials. I can think of one right now with Steve Carell, and I can't remember who the company was that he was doing the commercial for, but he was out there. He was working. Number 3, hone your craft. Like I said, I'm not SAG. I'm not in a union right now. And the reason for that, the biggest reason for that, is I have a strong desire to hone my craft. I want to know that when I leave the sideline and get in the game, the coach isn't going to pull me. I talk to people, and there's actors out there that, they don't last. And I think part of that is because when you do go union, you're not going to have as much opportunity to work. You're going to have better paying gigs, but not as many. And the value of working non-union is pretty real. And I think most people would admit that too. So it's a time in my life where I need to take advantage of the opportunities that I have and not worry about the income as much, so I can hone my craft so that when the time comes for me to join the union, I will be ready. And I won't be just a guy that's kind of waiting on the sidelines of the union. I'll be actually in the game, be an active participant. I just want to be the best that I can be before I get on the field. And that's my take on that. Maybe yours is different. We all have different walks here, so that's just my point of view on that. So number 4, create your own work. How easy is it to go out and make a film right now? Now, making a film is never easy, but you can create your own work. You can write a screenplay. If you can't write, you have friends that can write. You find people that write. You go make a stinking film. It can be a 2-minute film. My friends and I, we just made a 1-minute film for a local film contest. We ended up winning 3 prizes, and, it's awesome. It was great. But the best thing that came out of that was we finished a project. Hey, it was 1 minute, big deal. But it was great to win some stuff and get some recognition. Shows that we're on the right path and things are moving forward. So get out there and make your own projects. Use film festivals as an excuse to go make something. Whatever it takes. I'm sure you have a story inside of you. Go tell it. What's holding you back from that? Figure out what is holding you back. Make the necessary changes. Go make it happen. My friend Tommy Kendrick, he's been a guest on this podcast as well. Him and his friend, they just finished a short film that they made called Somewhere Between Heaven and Hell. This was a short film that they entered into some film festivals, but they were proactive in creating their own work. And it's a beautiful film. I've seen it. It's great. So get out there, make your own stuff. Tommy's a SAG actor. He made that thing happen. Him and his friends, they all made it happen. Get out there and make your own work. Tell the stories that you want to tell. What a great way to tell the stories you want to tell. You got to write the story that you want to tell. Be in the story you want to tell, And I'm just saying, the opportunity to tell your own story has never been better. If you want to use motion picture to do that, awesome. If you want to use the stage to do that, great. And that leads me into the 5th and final point here. I've got more points, of course, but we'll just stop at 5 today. And that is getting on stage. So I recommend getting on stage as an actor. And what I'm doing in lieu of actually being a stage actor, I moved out to Tacoma, to Seattle, with the idea that I would use stand-up comedy to get into motion picture. I had no clue how, and God bless me, and he opened some doors that I didn't have any clue would happen. And I was able to get into motion picture right away. So then I stepped away from stand-up because it's a tough racket. It's hard, but it's worth it. So I keep getting called back, and I love helping people laugh. That's a passion of mine. I love helping people laugh. So I've been getting on stage quite a bit this last few weeks. And I'm going to keep the pedal down on that because the stage time is valuable for so many reasons. And one of the reasons that I do it is because I want another arrow in my quiver. I've got an arrow when it comes to being a DP. I've got an arrow when it comes to writing. I've got an arrow when it comes to acting. And I've got a bunch of these. Director, for sure. And so I want to add as many arrows to the quiver as I can, so that I have that many more options when it comes to working in the entertainment industry. But the other thing is that being on stage as a comic, it also helps highlight me as an actor. So when the time comes, and it's going to be a little while before I become a good enough comic that I can say, hey, look at what I'm doing. That's going to be a ways out. Trust me. But you know what? I'm going to keep the pedal down. I'm going to keep going because it's something that I know I can do. I know I can do it okay. I don't anticipate being a Richard Pryor or anybody like that, but I think I can entertain, and I think I have something to offer when it comes to that. So, as long as people are laughing, I think I'll be okay. And if they're laughing at me and not with me, so be it. But, whatever. Those are the things that I used to care about. I used to get really upset when I didn't get the laughs or the laughs weren't coming. And I changed my perspective, and I changed it to where I just don't care anymore. I'm just going to keep the pedal down. That's one thing. And I've also changed my perspective as to I'm not looking for a laugh. I'm looking to give someone else the opportunity to laugh. And that's really changed a lot in me. So now it's not as big of a deal when material isn't exactly working the way that I thought it would. But that's sidetracked, so take what you want from that. But I hope these tips have helped you out. I know that there's a lot more that we could get into, and I know that there's some things that I probably skipped over. And I know that you have a ton of ideas on what it takes to become a working actor. And we need to hear that. We need to hear that in a Facebook group, on Twitter. Email me, dockennedy37@gmail.com. I love having these conversations and helping people grow in their craft because, this is a dream for all of us. I know that you're not listening unless you're sincere in what you want to do. So tweet this episode out, send it to whoever you want. If you think it's going to bless them, that's awesome. And I just encourage you to get out there, be proactive, make things happen. So God bless, go and grow.